And we are live on the way. Not a showdown slate like last week, 2 games, and then 3 tomorrow, and then 10, and then a showdown. 4 days in a row, football. How you doing? So we got the video out of the way. I'm sure a lot of people watching that checked it out. We've gotten news since then. Decent amount of news since then. Things that we can now inquire or assume based on practice reports the last day or two. Ray McCloud, James Washington haven't been practicing, so I doubt they played today, which makes guys like Tyler Simmons look a little bit more appealing. Obviously, Anthony Johnson, Isaiah McCoy continue to look appealing as they fight for their roster spots. Johnson getting the better of McCoy in the Hall of Fame game. See people hopping into the chat early. So for the next 45 minutes to an hour, right? We got an hour and 35 minutes until the slate starts. We're going to get your questions in. We'll cover any news that's coming out. The most recent news that you should know about is we finally got boots on the ground to talk to Sirianni out there with Philadelphia. And it seems that Jalen Hurts can potentially play 3 drives today, which would be about a quarter and a half. But if the offense is humming, and the quote was if he has a 75-yard drive, touchdown drive, right, then the offense is probably done. So if they get the ball first, they go right down the field, they score, they're done. They're playing a drive. They're playing a half a quarter. So we can play anywhere from a half a quarter to a quarter and a half. So the ideal situation would be Jalen Hurts plays the quarter and a half. They struggle to score touchdowns, but he racks up 45 rushing yards, and on the final drive, he gets a touchdown, and he's got 12 fantasy points, right? So Jalen Hurts is surely in play, and that information kind of already summarizes what we knew. It's a risk to play him. We get the confirmation from the head coach that it's, a risk to play him. He could either go out there and have one drive, and even if they do score a touchdown on that, you hope it's a passing touchdown, and he has 7-8 fantasy points, which can be enough at the quarterback position. So he is a risk, but we at least know that he's going to have the ability to play more than it's not just no matter what they're playing a drive. So there's that. So definitely still in play, especially on a slate like this. We went over some of the quarterbacks that we wanted to attack in the video. The tiers are up. The tiers are up on Patreon. They went up earlier today, so be sure to get into the tiers. This is not in any ranking order. This is just where I have guys at right now. So you get your questions in. But yeah, I mean, I expect Mac Jones to play 2 quarters, Taylor Heineke to play 2 quarters, Dwayne Haskins to play a quarter and a half, Nick Mullins to play a quarter and a half, Hurts to play anywhere from a half a quarter to a quarter and a half. After that, I'm not really interested. Like Mason Rudolph made the tiers, but not really too interested in him. Flacco, not really too interested in him either. Added in a lot of player props. I'm going to add some underdog props. I got a bunch from Prize Picks in earlier today. 3 5-pick flex ones where you get 3 out of 5 right, and you win money back. You win 4 out of 5, and you profit a decent amount. We in this bitch early. Sal live from Oakland, California. What's going on, Toes? Steelers defense captain. All right, so if you're playing the showdown slate tonight, to each their own. Maybe you just like showdown slates, and there's actually a good edge. So I do agree by putting the captains or the defense in the captain spot. But man, oh man. The Steelers' defense is the best defense tonight. I think that's pretty clear. They blitzed the shit out of the Hall of Fame game just for the fun of it against backup offensive linemen. Seems like they're going to do that again, just for the fun of it. Just blitz the shit out of these backup offensive linemen. So I think they're going to do that again. Just my guess. And also, I mean, the quarterbacks for Philadelphia are actually pretty solid. So interceptions-wise, I don't know how many you're going to get there. These are veteran quarterbacks in Nick Mullins, who's got some mobility, and Joe Flacco, who's a statue, but veteran quarterbacks, right? Especially against second and third string defenses that they'll be playing out there. But if you're talking about showdown questions tonight, I'm personally not playing the showdown. But yeah, put a defense in the captain spot. It's either wide receiver or defense. So I wouldn't just go strictly to defense in the captain spot, but they'll be lower owned than a lot of the wide receivers. At least you would hope so. My favorite show easily says Toast Twinkle. You're too kind. You're too kind. Washington all the way, somebody says. Sal for NFL commissioner. Got a lot of people positive up in here early. Haskins throws a touchdown to Rico. Rico Bussey today. Is that what you're expecting? Bussey made the tiers. Not anywhere near a priority, though. What is Mullins' status? Mullins is going to play today. I have Mullins as a solid option. Yeah, I expect Mullins to play about a quarter and a half today. I think that you get probably around a quarter out of Jalen Hurts when it's all said and done on average. I think you probably get about a quarter to a quarter and a half out of Joe Flacco, and then a quarter to a quarter and a half out of Nick Mullins. And Nick Mullins is going to be the 3rd player in, the quarterback 3 on a depth chart that has 3 quarterbacks. And I would expect Nick Mullins to go out there against a 3rd-string defense and look decent, right? I mean, these are going to be much better quarterbacks tonight than we got to see in the Hall of Fame game. This Cowboys, awful quarterback depth behind Dak. The Steelers, brutal quarterback depth, especially when you take into account that there was no time for Dwayne Haskins when he actually got into the game to throw. A lot better quarterbacks tonight with Hurts, with Mullins, with Flacco. You look at the other sides with Cam Newton and Mac Jones. Even Brian Hoyer, the 3rd stringer for the Patriots, is probably better than anything that was thrown out there. The veteran from Dallas. And you can continue to go up and down the board. Washington's got Taylor Heineke. Fitzpatrick will play a little bit of a quarter. there's going to be some decent quarterback play tonight. I think I'm staying with later guys, somebody says. All right, he sounds good. Do you like Logan Thomas, hoping he gets a reception or two in his field? No. Logan Thomas is not in play for me today. No. If Logan Thomas steps on the field, he'll step on the field for a half a quarter, a.k.a. one drive. No. Even if Logan Thomas has a catch for 11 yards, there's going to be other tight ends. There's some solid tight ends on this slate and even on tomorrow's slate. Tomorrow's video is going to be dropping in the morning. I already have it done. Doesn't make really any sense to release it now when the other slate hasn't started. Doesn't make sense to release it at 8 o'clock tonight when everybody's going to go to bed. So I'll release it first thing, 7 a.m. or so tomorrow morning. Did you see about those DraftKings NFTs? I saw them. I'm not really too in the NFT world. I bought a CryptoPunk like 4 months ago, and that's all I flipped some Top Shops back in the day. That's basically all I did with the NFTs, and I'm going to hold on to that CryptoPunk. Marvin Hall and Gainwell are my last two iffy picks for DraftKings today. I prefer Gainwell there. Marvin Hall is still in play for me, but not as in play after hearing some reports in terms of what they plan to do with the wide receivers out there. So Marvin Hall is no longer a priority. So they're dealing with some injuries out there. I do think that Marvin Hall probably plays a quarter to a quarter and a half still. He's more of an outside threat. I don't think he'll see a lot of slot usage like you saw out of Malik Taylor in the Hall of Fame game, a veteran, but he got slot usage, so he played very well for the Cowboys. We'll get to see him play, I believe, tomorrow. But Marvin Hall, I've gotten a little bit cooler on. Not totally off of Marvin Hall, but I would put about 7 or 8 wide receivers ahead of him right now. I have on the ranks. Hey, Sal. Hey, nice, Sal, man. Schmacks me, brother. I'm going to schmack you for sure. I miss Prize Pick, says John. You're in a state where it's not legal anymore? That's sad. I'm not seeing Steelers Showdown slate, just Redskins. Yeah, I'm not playing the Showdown slate. Somebody just asked a question earlier about Steelers defense. I assume that's what they were going for. I guess not. Heineke for all the marbles. Heineke is one of the better quarterback options. There's going to be 2 to 3 quarterbacks that play 2 to 2.5 quarters today. Mac Jones, Heineke, and maybe Nick Mullins. Because if you only get Jalen, like if Jalen Hurts goes out there, they have one drive, they go down the field, they score, and the offense is done. Joe Flacco is going to play a quarter and a half, the rest of the first quarter, the rest of the second quarter, and then Nick Mullins is probably playing the whole second half. So Nick Mullins is probably going to be one of the lowest owned quarterbacks today that has upside. Now, that said, he's not my favorite, but that's just a situation where he really sees a lot of time. Keep it simple. Playing all the Steelers, we know who's playing. You know who's playing for any team. I mean, we got some snaps from the Steelers, but you also don't know who's playing, to be honest with you. Ray McLeod led the team in routes. He's not going to play tonight. James Washington ran 14 routes in that game. He's probably not going to play tonight. So, yeah, I mean, Anthony McFarland is healthier, so you probably see a little bit less Jalen Samuel. So you know who's going to play from a quarterback position, but they all sucked. The wide receivers, sure, you know what you got out of them in terms of running 10 and 14 routes. Anthony Johnson looks good. I agree. McCoy should still see some usage. Simmons scores a touchdown, but, you know, it was somewhat of a fluke. He should see a little bit more usage if McLeod's out in the slot. But I think we know who's playing for all these teams. If you don't, that makes sense because you're just not reading 3 to 4 hours of beat reporter stuff a day. But, yeah, if you follow the camp news, and that's what hopefully this service and this channel and the Patreon with the tiers. And I mean, we have 15 pages of game notes going out tomorrow for the 3-game slate. For Saturday's slate, it's almost 50 pages of game notes. I'm going to release those tomorrow on Patreon. So we're very in-depth here. We know exactly who's playing for these teams. Do we know if they're running 10 to 12 routes to 14? We don't know the exact amount of routes, but we know that these guys are probably going to run about 6 to 8 routes, right? You can figure all this stuff out. Now, in the fourth quarter, when there's the 9, 10, 11 guy in the depth chart, out of those wide receivers, who's going to run 10 routes and who's going to run 4? Yeah, that's where it gets iffy. But that's why you start to look into some things like, okay, is this guy a slot receiver, and is the slot depth on this team weak? Oh, well, that's a decent spot to go. Oh, is this guy a big body receiver, and they don't have many red zone options, and their tight ends aren't pass catchers? Well, that's probably, you should rank him a little bit higher in the tiers, right? Thoughts on Heineke? Think he looks good. I think you see 1 drive today, maybe 2, but at most you're going to see the first quarter is going to be the max you see Fitzpatrick. Heineke, I think, plays the second quarter, most of the first when Fitzpatrick comes out, and then maybe even into the third quarter. So I think you see Heineke at least a quarter and a half, or probably closer to 2 quarters. Is it 2? Tomlin is running Najee Harris heavy tonight. Yeah, I mean, he ran Najee Harris heavy in the Hall of Fame game. Najee Harris played 18 snaps in the Hall of Fame game. He played a quarter and a half. So I think Najee Harris plays probably 2 quarters today. Oh, Sal, I've missed you. Can't wait for the season to start. The season has started, man. Look, if you're actually looking, there's not the $1 million at first, but if you're looking to make money, whether you play cash or just single entry in 3-max or player props, this is the time to do it. The player prop market is as easy to beat right now as ever because there's no algorithms. There's no Vegas odds to be going off of that are actually anything stable. This is all based on, these are players that are playing for the first time together. They're never going to all play together probably ever again. Even next week, there's going to be different guys in the rotation. There's going to be cuts that happen, I believe, on the 14th. 5 players get cut. On the 24th, another 5 get cut, right? So they're going to continue to change. So it's incredible that this is just the first time it happens. So is your ear to the ground? Are you reading 3 to 4 hours, if not more? Do you have alerts set up for all these beat writers and understanding what's happening? I would say that we are in the top 1%, if not top 0.01%, and understanding what's going to happen in these games tonight. Will we understand 100% of it? No, nobody ever will. But that's a good information edge to have. There's no better time to beat prop markets in the NFL than this very moment. So yeah, go up in there and get on Prize Picks or play DFS, whatever it is. This is the best. Thoughts on Stevenson and Harris? Damian Harris is a no-go for me. I think he plays one drive. I think he sees maybe 2 touches. Not interested. Stevenson's going to get work. Stevenson and J.J. Taylor probably see some work here. They just have a weak depth chart right now. We can go over to the running back position. But they have a weak depth chart. It's as simple as that. Like, this is a very shallow depth chart happening right now. I mean, you're going to be seeing like James White's probably not going to play. Older running back that they just re-signed, actually has a role on this team, had a 17% target share as a running back last year, top 3 in the NFL. You're not going to see Damian Harris play all that much. Sony Michel might see 2 drives, probably leans towards 1. They're going to play their rookie Ramondre Stevenson, who stunk. Ramondre Stevenson stunk in camp. Their running back coach, who hyped up J.J. Taylor last year, who's also apparently going to be seeing touches. Ramondre Stevenson, what they said about him, the running back coach, a week ago in practice said, this guy is very far away. They said, what does he have to improve on? The reporter asked. He said everything. This guy has to improve on everything. I mean, holy shit, just throw your guy under the bus, right? And he was on, I don't know if he was on the COVID list or the NFI list, but yeah, he is going to see work today. I think J.J. Taylor and Ramondre Stevenson easily see the most work for the Patriots running backs. I think that they each probably play somewhere around a quarter to a quarter and a half apiece, which, depending on how they go for those drives, Stevenson probably the second half. I think you probably see them see 6 to 8 touches apiece. And Stevenson's a bigger bodied back. He's 231 pounds. He came out of college at, so I think you're going to be seeing him get good amount of goal line use. J.J. Taylor is not a small back. Neither of them are really pass-catching threats. That's the one downside. You're hoping that they get 6 carries for like 30-something yards. Maybe they can fall their way into a reception. It's not like they can't catch. They did in college, just not effectively or any volume to it. But there's a touchdowns to it. You play any Texas Hold'em? I played Texas Hold'em for the first time ever with my girlfriend's dad and her brother and all their lake friends like 2-3 months ago. It was fun. And then I played on a boat a couple of weeks back for a bachelor party. I'm playing my little bro, Montez, tonight. Heard about the bad camp, but gotta hope for the best. Montez. I don't know why I can't think of who Montez is. Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of who Montez is. Best QB on the 2-game slate today. I mean, yeah, the 2-game slate, there's not one single. Like, Mac Jones and Taylor Heineke look good. Jalen Hurts has all the upside in the world if he actually gets those 3 drives that they said he could. Sal, any pick 'em picks on Underdog tonight? No, all my picks tonight are on Prize Picks as of right now, and these are them. So if you want to tail it over on Prize Picks, if you use the code SAL, you get a free first bet up to $100. I've got about 15 props in. So, like, the tight end props are so nice. Like, Ricky Seals-Jones over under 2.3. Even if he has a 10-yard catch, we hit the under on that one, right? Quez Watkins right now is, like, leading the Eagles in camp, and there's injuries there. He should see a lot of run. I'm taking a lot of unders on tight ends. Matt Lacoste, who doesn't really catch passes in general, a 2.2 over-under for him on a tight end depth chart that's got about 5 to 6 bodies. Yeah, I'm fine taking the under on that, right? So there's a lot here. Taylor Heineke, I like the over on. Jalen Samuels, I like the over on. 3.4 is such a low number. I mean, Benny Snell, I'm not expecting to play. Even if Najee plays another drive in this game, Samuels is going to play a quarter in the second half. And 3.4 for a former tight end in college. Like, I have so much on tonight's game. This is just alone from Prize Picks, not even counting just general prop markets. Favorite running backs today? Thanks. Yeah, the exact rankings of my running backs. So I have rankings and tiers and notes for every single player over on Patreon. If you want the exact this guy, which some people are asking, that's going to be over on Patreon. That is what the service is for, and the lovely patrons who support over there. But, I mean, there's some solid options. You have the Pittsburgh guys. J.J. Taylor and Ramondre Stevenson will play for the Patriots. For the Eagles, it looks like Kenny Gainwell and Jason Huntley, who I've been on Jason Huntley for the past week and a half. Watching the reports come out, Jason Huntley apparently looks fantastic in Eagles camp. The problem is their depth chart is loaded. Like, for Jason Huntley to make the team, the former Detroit Lion drafted by them, I believe, last year, if I recall correctly, it's just so difficult for him to make the team. When you have Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, who are by far the 1 and 2 on the team. You have the 5th-round pick, Kenny Gainwell. You have Kerryon Johnson, who they like because of his passing game role and how they want to work with this team with Jalen Samuels. So it's hard for him to really make the team. He'd have to pass Kerryon, and they would have to hold 4 running backs, which most teams don't. So I would expect him to make a practice squad. But either way, I mean, if Jason Huntley plays a quarter tonight and can show out a little bit, it's an audition for another team. We got a lot of people up in here. Been a long off-season, Sal. Missed you. Psyched for a little preseason and can't wait for the actual schmacks. Yes, Richie, I'm happy you're back. A lot of people are probably back right now. Appreciate you all a ton. If you're brand new here, let me know in the comments that you're brand new. We got about 211 people watching live. If you're brand new, let me know. Best deep wide receiver catcher for tonight. Like guy who goes down the field as a speedster deep? Is that what you're asking? Like the veteran Marvin Hall is going to be a pure deep threat. Diami Brown, the rookie, I think he sees some slot snaps, but he'll be a pretty nice deep threat. Here is some of the wide receiver stuff. I'm going to get rid of this up here so we can actually zoom in on this. There we go. But yeah, I mean, Diami Brown, the rookie, he'll get some usage as well. There we go. There's you're not going to want to play Ray McLeod. He seems to be injured. But other deep threats outside, like Antonio Gandy Golden, I don't know how much run he'll see, but he'll see some run outside. You might see some run on N'Keal Harry. I don't know if you see much. I think Dax Milne, if you're talking deep threats in terms of sleepers, Zach Wilson, the second overall pick for the Jets, Dax Milne, he was the main wide receiver for BYU last year with with Mr. Zach Wilson's just overall season that got him to be number 2 overall. So I think he's at least interesting because he was a 7th round pick this year for them. That's for Washington. I think he'll see some 4th. Washington is deep at wide receiver. So that's like one concern that they're so deep, but there's just so many talented guys there. Like for me, it's hard not to like Kelvin Harmon. It's hard not to like Dax Milne when they're having fantastic camps. And Milne just ran with the ones the other day in camp. Obviously, you have Diami Brown out there. So there's just so many great options, I would say, from Washington. Like you have Cam Sims, you have Steve Sims. They're just so damn deep. So it's hard for one of them to be the best option on the slate. But that Washington team at wide receiver, one of those guys is definitely going to be in a winning lineup because they actually have talent. Like this is not the Cowboys-Steelers on the Hall of Fame game. Those depth charts were not that great at wide receiver. This Washington depth chart at wide receiver is loaded. It's good. It's got actual draft picks on it, which most depth charts don't at this point. I'm feeling Diami Brown and Steven Sims for my favorite Washington wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, Diami Brown looks good. I actually like Kelvin Harmon more than Steven Sims. I think Harmon plays a lot of the second half. But there's Cam Sims there. He's fighting for a roster spot. All these guys, there's like 6 dudes fighting for 3 roster spots. They're all going to be out there balling. Crazy to play Najee too much? Yeah, I don't know. So who are the best tight ends to play today if you can only pick one? You can check it out on Patreon. You can see my exact only pick one option. Tyree Jackson, former quarterback, is going to be in play. Caleb Wilson, John Bates, Ricky Seals-Jones, Pat Freiermuth. These are all guys who are going to definitely be in play. That's like where it kind of ends. But Patriots receivers should get targets. I mean, Patriots receivers that are going to get targets. N'Keal Harry will play some, but he's been balling out in camp that I think he probably already has a roster spot locked up. Other than that, though, like Marvin Hall is a deep threat. He's a little bit more risky. And N'Keal Harry, I'm not really targeting Patriots wide receivers after that. I think that they're not that great, to be honest with you. Like Isaiah Zuber has some NFL experience. Matthew Slater's mainly a special teams guy. Devin Smith, Devin Ross, I don't really like. Christian Wilkerson is a massive body, so if you're just looking for like a red zone target, Gunner has had 2019 preseason usage. He played a lot out of the slot there. In the 2019, I actually have the exact stats: 5 receptions in 4 2019 preseason games. So that's not great. He was never fast. He's just a slot receiver. He's like an underneath guy. He'll play some decent snaps, but I'm not really high on him. So Patriots receivers don't look great. Like N'Keal Harry maybe plays a quarter. He's been balling out in camp, so there's some upside there if he can actually get the whole quarter. And then I do think Marvin Hall is probably the highest upside Patriots receiver just because of his downfield role and probably plays a little bit more than Harry. Greg Ward or Rager, probably neither, but I'll go Rager if I had to pick one. Ended up in 5th in one of my contests, was 2nd before Ben DiNucci got those garbage yards. Sally messing around, never do. Stevenson over Hall, like Marvin Hall? Yeah, sure. Take Washington, somebody says. I have the Eagles -1. I have nothing bet on the Washington game outside of player props. Sabbath do, baby. Pats are having a bounce back year. Let's fucking go. Yeah, best of luck. Buying any part of the narrative that Harry might get targeted a bunch to raise his trade value. No, I don't think Harry's getting traded. No. Whoever is saying that narrative to you clearly does not pay attention to the NFL. N'Keal Harry over the last 2 weeks loves the New England Patriots. He had a sit down with Bill Belichick 2 weeks ago. They came out of it happy. He said to reporters that he wants to be there. He wants to be a New England Patriot. He's over the whole trade thing. So whoever's telling you there's the narrative, I would not listen to them. They don't pay attention to the NFL. Please do let me know who said that so we can not direct anybody to them. No, N'Keal Harry is going to be a New England Patriot. He wants to be a New England Patriot. Bill Belichick sat him down and said, hey, we got no wide receivers here. Like Jacoby Myers, people on Underdog are balling out for right now, drafting him. This dude's an undrafted free agent. We know he had one good game last year. We need you, former first-round pick, who's apparently balling out in camp. Thoughts on running back Najee Harris? Yeah, I mean, Najee Harris is going to probably be the highest on guy today. He played a quarter and a half. He saw 8 touches on the ground, 18 snaps in the Hall of Fame game, and now Mike Tomlin says he wants to run him just as much, if not more. So expect 18 to 20 touches out of Najee Harris. I'm not shocked if you see 12. But if you see 12, it's probably because he's had like a 40-yard touchdown run, right? So Najee Harris, you should probably be playing. Yes. And we didn't even get to see his passing game roll all that much in that last game. Is there a reason we aren't discussing Kendrick Bourne? Yeah. He's a slot guy who's a situational red zone player who I don't think plays that much. Like Kendrick Bourne, they signed and gave decent money to be a starter. So I don't think he's going to play that much. I think the starters are going to come out of the game. Nelson Aguilar's not playing tonight. So he's been banged up in camp. So I think you're going to see Jacoby Myers. I think you're going to see Kendrick Bourne, maybe even N'Keal Harry come out basically when Cam Newton does, which is going to be 1 to 2 drives. And when Kendrick Bourne is a slot receiver whose average depth of target is like 5 yards, even if he has a catch, it's going to be for like 7 yards. It's not worth it. Montez, third quarterback tonight. Oh, yeah, no interest. Zero interest in Montez tonight. Absolutely no interest. They've already said that they're going to play Fitzpatrick a half a quarter to a quarter, 1 to 2 drives, and that they want to play Heineke the majority of the game, 2 to 2.5 quarters. So Montez is going to play a quarter. Anytime that there's other quarterbacks playing 2 quarters, you don't play the guys who are likely going to play 1 quarter. Like Saturday, there's going to be a ton of quarterbacks that are going to play close to 3 quarters. Like you're getting 30 snaps out of Trey Lance and Justin Fields. You're getting Jordan Love, a mobile quarterback, to play probably 3 quarters for the Green Bay Packers. Those guys, if you go to other depth charts that have 3 to 4 quarterbacks playing, you don't even look at them because those guys playing a quarter to a quarter and a half don't even come close to the guys who are playing 3 quarters, not even to take into account the mobile upside. Who do you have winning the Steelers versus Eagles game? I bet on the Eagles -1. Do you like Freiermuth tonight? Yeah, they said that he should get some good run. I'm not new. We've been betting on Rodgers since the 90s. We love it. Dog needs a bone. Top 10 in tonight. Today, Junior. The top 10 in tonight, in no order, these are the tight ends that I enjoyed tonight, that I can see scoring either a touchdown or seeing a couple of targets, and that would be these fellas. Tyree Jackson, former quarterback for Buffalo. He's balling out in camp, apparently. Sal, what membership do I buy for preseason tiers and rankings? You can either get if you want the optimizer as well, it's the NFL priority. If you want all sports access, that would be the Hall of Fame package. So if you want the optimizer, not just for preseason, but the regular season, that would be the NFL priority. On Patreon, it's linked down below. I'll drop a link. If you want every single sports access, which we have MLB projections in our optimizer, PGA, MMA, obviously NBA when that returns, you can check it out. My man Chase. I took out Hall for Ramondre Stevenson. Good move? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it sounds okay. It sounds fine. It doesn't sound egregious. Patriots don't love no players. Okay. Like Gunner at all? No, not really. I'm not really. Did I even rank Gunner in my tiers? Let me see. Bang. Let's see. Gunner made my tiers, but barely. Like, there's not much upside here. You can get excited about Gunner, Olowski, whatever his name is. He played all 4 games in the preseason in 2019 out of the slot, so not much upside because he wasn't going downfield. He's an underneath receiver. He had 5 targets. He caught 4 balls. He definitely has better quarterback play now, I would say, with Cam Newton and Mac Jones going to be throwing him the ball. That's for sure. But he's a special teams player. He's been on this roster just like Matthew Slater because they're special teams player. Do you consider rostering kickers? Realistically, 2 field goals. I'm not playing the Showdown slate, but no, I'm not rostering kickers. Yeet King, okay. Seeing a lot of money in here. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of money for sure. What's the deal on Tyree Jackson, the tight end? He's having a great camp. You should not expect to see Goddard or Zach Ertz. So it'll be a little bit of Richard Rodgers. And then Tyree Jackson, apparently they want to see what they got in him. If he'll make the team over Richard Rodgers. There's a legitimate case for that. So yes, I do think that Tyree Jackson is in play. Everything out of Eagles camp is that him and Jason Huntley and Quez Watkins are like the most impressive players at camp. You think Mac Jones plays a lot? Yeah, I think he plays 2 quarters or so. How much do you think Mac and Cam get in this one? I think Cam plays 1 to 2 drives, so he's out by the end of the first quarter at the latest. I think Mac Jones plays the whole second and some of the third. What quarterback, if not all? What quarterback should get multiple quarters tonight? Taylor Heineke, maybe Nick Mullins, maybe Jalen Hurts. They said that he could play 3 drives if the offense is struggling. Mac Jones. Sal, you do any half-point PPR rankings? I have full-point PPR and non-PPR. My half-point PPR, I did them 2 years ago, and there was like 7 overall differences. So it's just not worth me updating those manually every single time that an injury happens in the preseason just to change like 1 or 2 dudes. It's not that different. Just popped in. What's looking good besides the shirt? Yeah, the shirt's looking fantastic, if I do say so myself. How do you guys like the background? We've been building up the studio. I got a plant back there now, a couple plants. I want to get a couple more plants, see what's up, see what's popping. Wide receiver, pass catch, and running back at the flex. It depends on who the player is, to be honest with you. But yeah, it depends on who the player is. Like, there's not that many pass catch and running backs on the slate, to be honest with you. So, I mean, wide receiver normally for me. Just more opportunities. Like, a running back, you're happy. You're happy tonight if a running back sees 5 touches. You're happy. Like, right? 5 or 6 touches is great. A wide receiver can just see 2 targets and pay off. 1 catch, 40 yards, right? Something like that. Philly pass catching options, yeah, Quez Watkins and JJ. Nobody's mentioned Arcega-Whiteside. I mean, this is a second-round pick that they took ahead of DK Metcalf. It's his third year now. He's on a roster bubble spot. He's a big, fast wide receiver. He's a freak in nature, going to be going against backup cornerbacks. I mean, I think Arcega-Whiteside can have a Devonta Johnson. Was that his name? It wasn't Devonta Johnson. It was something like that from 2019 for the Cowboys. Or John Vea Johnson. He went the hell off in the preseason. He was big, fast against backup cornerbacks. Actual NFL skills? No, not against good physical cornerbacks. How do you feel about single game showdown Mac Jones and captain? Yeah, I wouldn't want Mac Jones and captain, personally. What about Elijah Holyfield? No interest. Elijah Holyfield is not going to be seeing any use tonight. He's a 2019 undrafted free agent. He has no NFL career starts. He only has 7 catches in 27 college games. This is a guy that's basically a camp body right now for them. Never great in college. I think Elijah Holyfield, maybe if he's lucky, sees 2 to 3 snaps tonight, which might turn into 1 touch. No interest. JJ going to be low owned. I would accept JJ Taylor or Stevenson. JJ Taylor and Stevenson is basically a coin flip. Stevenson's a little bit bigger and slower. They both have similar pass catching numbers in college. I think they're going to give similar run to those guys. I'll take Taylor. I think he'll be the first one in. Background is fire. Sal, great work. I appreciate that, Yeet King. I'm trying to add some more stuff to it, but not too much to make it look like crazy. But like any of those lights, like that blue light, and if I get closer, the camera looks even better because it blurs the background more, but I can't get much closer unless I buy something for the camera to like raise it closer to me, because watch this. I mean, this just looks so clear. Like, I wish this is how it can look all the time. And it could. It could look like this all the time because the closer you get, the more it adds depth of focus, obviously. And this is just like me moving 1.5 feet. So I'm all the way up against the wall, though, so I can't move this back anymore. But to get the full use out of this camera, being right here, I mean, this looks crystal fucking clear. So I got to see. Priorities tonight, Sal? Yeah, I mean, at what position? There's definitely like top 5s at each position. I have every single player specifically ranked out if you want to see over on Patreon, like in terms of which guy looks the best. Best QB tonight? I don't think there's one good one. There's not just one single, I don't think there's one good one, but I don't think there's one solo best QB. I think that Heineke, Hurts, and Mac Jones all have very similar ranges, not ranges of outcomes, but tier rankings tonight. Nick Mullins is also a solid option. I don't think we're really sleeping on Dwayne Haskins. I think he can do something, but they're going to play 3 quarterbacks, and they're going to all split their usage, so his upside to play 2.5 quarters really isn't there. Whiteside, JJ Taylor, or Stevenson? JJ Taylor and Stevenson's usage. Let's go. Sal just joined. Welcome back to Patreon. Welcome home, Mr. Chase. So the difference between the running backs and wide receivers tonight, Whiteside has way more upside than JJ Taylor and Stevenson, especially because they don't have pass catching backs. Those guys are safe. So if you're playing in a cash game, play one of the running backs. If you're playing in a tournament, play Whiteside, because Whiteside can have 4 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown. And that's way easier for him to get there on that, especially with his size and speed and his actual pedigree against backup cornerbacks for JJ Arcega-Whiteside. And don't let what he's done in the regular season against real cornerbacks and real defenses dissuade you. This is not going to be the same. That's going to be way more upside, way higher range of outcomes for a receiver than those running backs. Sal, what was for dinner tonight? I had a rice cake with peanut butter and banana before this. I'm going to get something. I'm going to end this stream before 6, so I have like 45 minutes. Make sure there's no crazy news coming out. But I'm going to get something after. I actually don't even know what I'm going to eat tonight. I have to go grocery shopping because I went grocery shopping last Saturday, so I'm running low. I'm running low on the gas. Running low on them gas foods. Need them foods. We got 300 people up in here. Like anything on Prize Picks tonight? Yeah, Jaden. Funny you mentioned that. I got about 17 players taken on Prize Picks. We like a lot. I like the unders on these tight ends. I like the unders on the Steelers starters. I mean, 4.2 points for Chase Claypool. If he plays another 1.5 quarters after having an injury scare in the last game, then Mike Tomlin's just a big Dumbo, right? But even if he plays that, it took the 40-yard reception for him to go over 4.5 last time, or 4.2. Deontay's at 4, who can easily pile up underneath receptions. I like Quez Watkins overs. I like Jalen Samuels overs. So there's a lot I like on Prize Picks. You can tail these. You can choose your own. Some of the props are probably different by now. But yeah, there's a lot that I like over on Prize Picks. If you would like to play on Prize Picks, check it out down below. They sponsor the program. They allow me to cover the preseason as full in-depth as I do and not have to go to a part-time or a full-time job, because this is my job, because sponsors like Prize Picks and all the patrons out there support the channel, enjoy the information, and enjoy what we're doing here, which allows me to get some... I was going to pick up the candle, but it seems risky. I feel like this can backfire. Get some vanilla bourbon TJ Maxx candles. Solid. Oh, no. We're about to create a flamethrower up in here. Don't do it. Oof. I'm excited. Live streaming about football. It's been a while. I mean, we did it last week, but for the most part, it's been a while. Hi, Sal. Good to be back. What Washington receiver gets the most snaps? Gets the most snaps? Couldn't tell you. I could tell you which guys are going to be in that range to get the most snaps. Dax Millen is going to get a good amount of snaps. Kelvin Harmon. Cam Sims and Steven Sims are better receivers than the other two I just mentioned, but they might get a little bit less snaps. Cam Sims played last year a lot in the NFL. Big slot plus guy, can play on the outside, fast. He's a big body, but who knows how much he plays? He might only play 10 snaps, right? He might only run 8 routes. So you're trying to look for the guys who run 16 routes, and there's going to be 2 or 3 of them tonight. I think Kelvin Harmon has that upside. I think Dax Millen in the second half has that upside. A lot of people like Diami Brown, the rookie out there. I just think he's too important to this team right now. Like Curtis Samuel is hurt. If we're talking real NFL football, Curtis Samuel is hurt right now, and there's no timetable on his return. So if Curtis Samuel doesn't start the season, right, especially with a new quarterback and a new offense now, doesn't have the offseason, if he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season, you're going to have Diami Brown on the outside, Adam Humphries in the slot, and Terry McLaurin. So that's a starting receiver right there, Diami Brown. Either way, he's a top 3 or 4 receiver on your team. So I know he's a rookie, but kind of like McCole Hardman in the preseason 2 years ago when Hardman caught that touchdown pass, but Hardman only played 1.5 drives. So I think that you can see Diami Brown, who's a nice, flashy player, but even these first and second string defenders are kind of similar to what he faced in college, right? So I think he's exciting. I think he's cool. They'll throw his way to see what he can do. Maybe he gets 2 or 3 targets. I like Diami Brown tonight, right? If you see in the tiers, you can tell that I like him. I'm just not as convinced that he is the best play on Washington because I think there's going to potentially be multiple other guys who see, like Diami Brown might run 8 routes tonight. Other guys are going to run 16, right? I think it's a little bit of a risk to put him out there for too much longer than that. If this was the Steelers, he'd play the whole fucking game, though, right? Any interest in Devin Smith? No, 0. Out of the Patriots tonight, who do you feel, who you see favorably as captain, JJ or Stevenson? I don't want either of those guys as captain. I think Stevenson has a better opportunity for touchdown just because of his size. But yeah, just sign up for Prize Picks and use your code and deposit some money. Grab yourself some fire foods, says Bud Thompson. Hey, let's go. Some fire foods. Yeah, I'm going to go get myself a Poke Bowl after this because of that. Yeah, if you have any questions on the Prize Picks plays, let me know. How much do you worry about stacking/double stacking in preseason? Not at all. You can somewhat worry about it. Like Marvin Hall is going to play with Mac Jones, right? Taylor Heineke is going to play with Kelvin Harmon and Cam Sims, like because these guys are going to play 2 quarters, so it's easy to understand that. Don't get too crazy about stacking. You can set up some MME rules if you want to. You choose the correlation because you get 4 quarters, in the regular season, outside of injury, or a quarterback sucking and throwing picks and getting pulled. You're getting the whole game with that quarterback and that receiver. In this one, you don't even know, for the most part, we know how much the quarterbacks are going to play, but you don't know if the 14 routes a wide receiver runs, if only 2 of them are going to be with that quarterback. Why'd you play him then? So if it just works out that way that you're stacking and it makes sense, then fine. Well, yeah, just do it. But if you're going out of your way to stack and choosing worse players or guys in not as good situations just to get the correlation, it's probably not even going to be that great of correlation. You get 100% correlation outside of the injuries and guys getting pulled in the regular season from those guys playing the full 4 quarters together. You get nowhere near that in the preseason. So if people are recommending stacking and especially game stacking and double stacking, I understand the thought there to beat other people who aren't doing it in the preseason. I just don't think the edge that is there in the regular season is there right now because it's not as high correlation. Love to be back. Any love for Jonathan Williams? Yeah, he's definitely in the tiers. Jonathan Williams is somebody we haven't really talked about much. He's like the RB4 right now. He's battling for a roster spot. He's battling a rookie, undrafted free agent, I believe, Jarrett Patterson. So I think he'll be in play, yeah. Quez Watkins looks great. He's balling out in camp. Injuries to Devonta Smith, injuries to John Hightower, other receivers banged up. Rager probably not going to play too much. Quez Watkins, I think, plays at least a quarter, maybe even 2 quarters right now. He's still battling for a roster spot, but thanks to how good he's doing in camp, if he could just do anything in the preseason and stay healthy, Quez Watkins probably makes the team second-year player. Claypool had a big game for preseason against Dallas. Will he get a significant run tonight? I don't know. I think Claypool plays a quarter. He played a quarter and a half last time. He landed and he knocked the wind out of himself. He didn't really have a big game. Like, let's not get this twisted. He played a good amount. Like, I don't want to make it seem like Chase Claypool didn't play. He played a good amount, but he also had an injury scare, so I don't know how much you're willing to go running right back out there. Juju Smith-Schuster on a 1-year deal said, I'm not even playing in this fucking game. Fuck that. So he didn't even play in the game. Chase Claypool ran 8 routes. He caught a deep 40-yard catch. That's not a big game, right? I know he had 2 catches overall, but it's the one big 40-yard catch that's skewing the upside. He only ran 8 routes, and now maybe if he doesn't, and that was in a quarter and a half. So even if you think Chase Claypool plays 2 quarters, he's going to run 10 routes today. If he plays 1 quarter, he's going to run 5 routes. That's why I like the under 4.2 fantasy points on Prize Picks. Best New England receiver. Yeah, the New England receivers are the most least appealing on the slate. Either Marvin Hall or N'Keal Harry. Harry's a better receiver right now. He'll have better matchups. He'll have more ability in the slot, potentially over the middle of the field. Hall will play a little bit more. I ain't going to lie. I peeped the clarity when I watched the show last night. You peeped the clarity when I watched the show last night? What do you mean you peeped the clarity? What does that mean? What is your preference on defenses? The Steelers are going to be the best defense. They just blitz non-fucking stop in the Hall of Fame game. I don't expect that to change. Hey, Sal, how's it going? What are the chances of both Sims playing together? I think both Sims will be playing. Cam and Steven Sims, they're both going to be playing, yeah. Sal, don't get me started. Marshall's candles, black tuxedo, and also fresh shave, the best too. Yeah, I like candles. I don't know like specifics like that, like my favorite ones. But this one I got for, I believe my birthday. My girlfriend got it for me. Some holiday or something, maybe Easter, something like that. But it's just like a vanilla whiskey, and it's great. I like the vanilla type of candles. But this one's got like a little hint to it, so I like it. It's really good. Mac or Taylor Heineke? That's the question tonight. Mac, Taylor Heineke, Nick Mullins, or Jalen Hurts. Heineke and Mac, I'm going to be split on those guys a lot, yeah. If I had to choose one, probably Mac, just because I think you could see a little bit more run out of him. I think he's a better quarterback than Taylor Heineke. I think he has a better offensive line than Taylor Heineke, but he has worse weapons. And this is a run-first team, built to run the ball. Even with their running backs, even like without their full starting unit out there, J.J. Taylor and Stevenson, they're going to run the ball. So, yeah, I mean, I think Heineke has more ability. I would say Heineke has a higher ceiling. Mac has a safer median. Like Heineke, way lower floor. Mac, I mean, it's exactly what he did in college. He just had amazing athletes. He's just accurate. He's safe. He can get you done. Stevens Drake donates $3 to the stream. He says, top 3 running backs tonight. So there's like kind of like this top 6 or 7, to be honest with you. Like you could see even on the Patreon tiers, it's not a clear cut. It's the 2 Patriots back, Ramondre Stevenson and J.J. Taylor. It's the 2 Steelers back. Najee Harris I like a lot. You didn't even get to see the pass catching abilities. I think you might see a little bit of that today. He catches 3 balls for 15 yards. He's already in the winning lineup. 20 yards on the ground, even if it's bad on the ground, right? So Najee Harris I like. And imagine if they actually move the ball this week towards the red zone. Touchdown upside. Jalen Samuels I like. And then the Eagles. So it's like 2 guys from each team. Kenneth Gainwell and Jason Huntley. Jason Huntley is going to be one of the lowest owned high upside running backs tonight. That does not mean go ahead and play him, because I'm telling you, lowest owned highest upside. He's low owned for a reason. He's not projecting out to be amazing. But that is a great pass catching running back. I mean, Jason Huntley, let me pull it up right here. Just taking the notes. And I remember doing this last year for him. Jason Huntley in college. This is a 2020 5th rounder from Detroit. Didn't end up making the team. In college, he caught 134 balls in 46 games. He averaged over 3 yards, or he averaged over 3 receptions per game in college. That is a good pass catching running back who's expected to see a decent amount of usage. So is Kenny Gainwell, good pass catching running back for Philly. So both those guys are in play. But I mean, if Jason Huntley's on the field, end of the 3rd quarter, plays most of the 4th quarter or midway through it, he gets a quarter of play, 2 drives. He's going to run 6-7 routes. That can lead to 1 or 2 dump-offs. Samuels or McFarland? I'll go Samuels. McFarland's still banged up. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you. Sal, can we play Najee Harris and Jalen Samuels together? Yeah, I think you can. Hey, boss, just woke up. What have I missed? You just woke up. How you doing? Sal, I don't see Dax Millen on your tiers. Dax should be on the tiers. Is he not? I believe he is. Dax. Is he not? Did he not make it? So he's on my hard copy. Did he not make it over to Patreon when I copy and pasted? That's on me if so. I apologize for that. I'm gonna fix it right now. He's on like I have a hard copy of my tiers and I copy and paste it over. Because it's easier to format in Word. But if Millen is not on here, that's on me. I'm adding him right now to the tiers, by the way. So Dax Millen, no, he's not. So yeah, he's on mine over here, but let me just add it over here for y'all. What am I? Alrighty, so let's do this. Dax has now been added for all the Patrons. Thank you for the update there. Dax added. Let me just say that. Dax added. There we go. All fixed. Thank you. Clarity is referring to your camera resolution. That's what I'm thinking the comment meant. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, a whole new camera setup I currently have. I put a thing on my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram or TikTok, be sure to, because there's a lot. Shoot me over your Patreon, I guess, and shoot me over your address over Patreon, and I'll send you some candles. How plus you know my ass is grilling while watching and need to fly pet. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Hit me up on Twitter or something. I need to get like a PO box because I don't want to give out my actual address. Well, I'm definitely not going to over the internet. But people have wanted to send me stuff before, and I have to turn them down. What team are you looking to stack the most? I'm not stacking any teams tonight, personally. What's up, Sal? First time playing NFL DFS. Hey, Avery, where'd you come over from? NBA? NBA is fun because it's every single night. It's fun when it's like the first month or 2 of the season and it doesn't get just overwhelming, or the end of the year when it sucks. But there's nothing like the NFL, especially preseason. Thoughts on the Steelers tight ends tonight? Yeah, Pat Frymuth out of Penn State. I mean, look at you can't really tell if that's a Penn State light back there with the blue on it, but shout out Penn State. The guy's a beast. Can you throw through some nice prize picks first? Yeah, here's the prize picks that I like. So these I'll just scroll through them slowly on the screen. You could pause your video if you need to. Love Huntley, but Eagles have like 8 backs. Yes, they have 8 backs, but they're also not going to play most of them. Huntley and Kenny Gainwell have been noted by the coaching staff and the beat writers to be getting the most work tonight. Like, Jordan Howard is not going to play as a 30-year-old veteran. Kerryon Johnson with bad knees is not going to play that much. Miles Sanders, they already said, is going to play probably a half a quarter tonight, right? Boston Scott is too important to this team, so he probably plays a drive. So you're now looking at the final 3 quarters of the game. Not that many running backs left on the roster once you get to that point. So, and also you're looking at 4 teams tonight. When you're trying to look at backfields, the Patriots have a deep backfield, similar situation though. A couple of those guys, James White, Damian Harris, Sonny Michel, don't think they play that much. But yeah, I would say, I mean, even Washington has a deep backfield, right? Washington, they're probably not going to play McKissick or Antonio Gibson much, if at all, but they have a deep backfield as well. So all these backfields are deep, and I don't think the Eagles have 8 guys, but active tonight, those 2 guys are going to be the most used. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles right now on their depth chart have 6 running backs. Elijah Holy, this is me not counting Adrian Killians because he's basically operating as like a gadget guy, so I'm not counting him. Elijah Holyfield is basically a camp body. He's almost like a fullback. I'm not counting him. He's like 240 pounds. So you got 6 running backs tonight. One of them is Miles Sanders, not going to make it out of the first quarter. Boston Scott, probably not going to make it out of the first quarter. So now you're down to 4 running backs. A 30-year-old Jordan Howard. They already know what they have in him. A bad knees Kerryon Johnson, who's like only 25 somehow, right? 24. So you're kind of looking at like 3 running backs who are going to get the bulk of the carries in this game. Good call. Thoughts on McFarland with no Snell or Ballage? Yeah, I think McFarland looks good, but I think it helps Samuels more. And obviously Najee Harris. Like the fact that there's no Ballage now is good, but you're going to see increased usage for Najee Harris is the thought. PJ is the best. NFL is second best. PJ is a good sweat. I agree, but it's not as quick, right? PJ is a 4-day sweat. That's probably why you like it, but it's not as quick. The back 9 on Sunday, that's really exciting. There's a nice sweat there. There's the cut sweat. So I do agree. PJ, its own unique thing. I think PJ is a very unique sweat. These are prize picks, by the way, if you're just tuning in. PJ is definitely a very unique sweat. If I could choose one NFL sport to only ever play again, or one DFS sport to only ever play again, I mean, it's the reason I started this channel. It's NFL DFS. But PJ and NBA are very, very close. Fly out and cook for the fellas. We love to hear that. Best right end. I don't know. Top 3 receivers tonight, Sal. Yeah, you can see my top 3 receivers over on Prize Picks. I can give you breakdowns on specific players, thoughts on guys who look great. But in terms of my overall top 3 favorite, those are on Prize Picks. And unfortunately, if you don't have, or not on Prize Picks, on Patreon. Unfortunately, if you don't have Patreon, the 200 people that do, 300 people that do actually now, a little bit behind. Who would I stack with Heineke? You don't have to stack. Don't prioritize stacking on a preseason slate. If you're going to get one drive of correlation, what's the point of stacking, right? So just don't stack on these slates. Thoughts on Anthony Johnson? Think he looks great. He ran 16 routes in that first game. He's a big-bodied receiver. He's fighting for a roster spot. He looked good. He was targeted often. He was used in all parts of the field. I think Anthony Johnson looks like a great wide receiver option tonight. He ran 16 routes, second most on the team behind Ray McLeod, who's now out, who ran a lot of underneath routes. He had 3 catches, 22 yards, big-bodied. He was a great college producer. He had like almost a 45% dominator rating, 30% target share seasons. Do you start Aaron Rodgers tonight? Yeah, if you can start Aaron Rodgers, he's by far the best play in the slate. Sal, do you think Mac Jones starts this season? At some point, yes. Not to start the season. Patterson or Williams? I'll take Jonathan Williams over Patterson. Can you play a QB without stacking anybody with him? Yes, most definitely. In the regular season, I would say no. Right now, yes. Can I play Anthony Johnson and McCoy together? Yes. Best Washington player to play? Probably Taylor Heineke. Thoughts on Trey Nixon? He makes my tiers, not a priority, but he's definitely in play. Najee under 40 yards looks good. It does look good until you remember that he's playing up against backup running backs, and he's probably going to see 8 to 10 carries. I'm just not touching that. Like, Najee Harris is an explosive, really good running back. Don't let the hindsight bias that you saw in the first game of him rushing for 2 yards every time fool you. Najee Harris runs for one 27-yard run in the preseason, and he's smashing the over 40 yards. He's probably going to see 10 touches tonight. Should he be seeing 10 touches? No, but Mike Tomlin is convinced that he should play the first half. Thoughts on Stevenson? I think Stevenson probably sees 6 to 8 touches in the second half tonight. He's not a great pass catcher. If they're not in the red zone, he's probably going to run 6 times for 27 yards, right? And you can stat that one down. But if they're in the red zone, 6 times 27 yards and a touchdown, right? So Stevenson, like Ballage last week, not that appealing. Ballage a better pass catcher, but got in the end zone. Stevenson, probably one of the best opportunities to get in the end zone. They have really good offensive line depth. They want to run the ball in general. They want to see what he can do as a draft pick this year, right? Somebody that they're already down on, saying that he needs to improve a lot and show a lot. Might already be a roster bubble guy as a rookie. Alex says, thanks, no problem. Running back page, please. Okay, let me get it. The running back page, please. You betcha. There you go. This is in no ranking order, by the way. This is just the way my thing filters it. So this is not like best guys up first. Got some money on PrizePicks and some on Draftkings. Got to have skin in the game, so you know that. Yeah, we got money on the betting line, Philly -1, nothing on the other game. Got money on Draftkings, got money on PrizePicks, got money on SuperDraft. Yeah, we're all over the place. Who's your favorite to throw into the captain spot for Showdown, Pats, and Washington? One of their defenses, if not one of their defense. Yeah, probably one of their defenses because none of the receivers stand out for the Patriots, and there's just so many damn receivers on Washington. So one of the defenses. You got that Aaron Rodgers promo code so we can play him? Yeah, I mean, if you are a Patreon member, you get to play Aaron Rodgers tonight, and you get to pick any of his performances from last year. So you can choose his performance when he scores 30 fantasy points last year and put that in tonight. Really big upside that you have. Thanks to DraftKings for that. Thanks to DraftKings for that sponsorship that we have with them. I'm lying, but thank you for having that. I'm not telling the truth right now, but thank you for having that. Again, if you are a Patreon, you get to play Aaron Rodgers whenever you want in any of his. Not just last year's performances, last 5 years' performances. So there's some really good ones. 2 rushing touchdown games in there. Again, you can't actually do this, but again, you could if you were a patron. Are you back on weekly Awesemo DFS this year? I am not doing any shows with Awesemo. If they want to see me on as a guest, yes, but I'm not scheduled for any shows with Awesemo. After the Super Bowl last year, shortly after, basically they just reached out to me and were like, hey, we view you as competition. We think this would be a good time to terminate. That's like a harsh word, but basically just end the relationship. It makes sense. I was already kind of going that route anyways. Last year, I only did 1 show a week with them. I used to do the year before that 4 shows a week with them. NBA and NFL at the same time. They would pay me $100 to come on. It just didn't make much sense for me to do more because me spending 4 hours a week just on the shows, spending another 6 hours a week prepping for the shows, like that 10 hours a week is a lot when I'm doing everything on my channel, when I'm trying to appear on bigger networks as a guest and network and have an actual personal life and watch the games themselves and enjoy the games and not just feel overworked. So I told them I only want to do 1 day a week last year, so I only did 1 day a week for the NFL. I was on Tuesdays with Raza and Laffy. Love all the guys there. They're all great. Well-run organization, but no, I'm not going to be with them this year. Sal, who will be in the Super Bowl 56? It'll be Super Bowl 56. It's going to be the Chargers and the Packers. I'm just picking teams that I like. Like the video, guys. I appreciate it. Sal, yeah, appreciate it. DraftKings got banned in Oregon, so I have to play FanDuel now. Sucks, but nothing better. But better than nothing. Really got banned there? What is happening with all these bannings? Basic membership, get me the tiers on Patreon. The NFL basic membership will get you the tiers. It will get you the notes. It will not get you the lineup optimizer. And it will not get you any other sports. If you want the lineup optimizer, that's priority. If you want the optimizers and other sports access like MLB every single day, PGA, MMA, that'll be Hall of Fame. But yeah, basic will get you the tiers. Best tight ends on DK. Yeah, there's a couple of good tight ends on DK today. There is Caleb Wilson, John Bates, a 4th-round rookie, Tyree Jackson, a converted quarterback, Pat Freiermuth, a 2nd round out of Penn State. They say they're going to play him a good amount, but who actually knows? Ricky Seals-Jones, who was a fantasy darling, but he put on some more weight. We'll see. He didn't really do much with the Chiefs. I think he caught 1 ball. It might have been a touchdown. Did $100 a month, says Lorenzo Robinson. What do you mean $100 a month? What is that? In my opinion, they want Najee to get some confidence. After he gets a plus 10-yard run, the starters leave 2 plays later. Maybe. That's maybe. Sal, been ages since your last PGA video. How come? If there's 2 of me, I would be doing PGA. There's a couple of reasons. One, the more that I put PGA and MMA and all this stuff on the channel, it hurts the channel. YouTube is saying, okay, what is your niche? Okay, your niche is NFL and NBA. Okay, well, we'll promote those. Now you're throwing MMA and PGA into this, and it just doesn't promote it. So it's not going to more people. It's kind of killing the channel. That's one thing. And 2, it's just time. When I'm covering I took 60 pages of notes for the preseason games. 60 pages of Word doc notes on every single player that's going to be a DraftKings option for you in any of the preseason games from Thursday to Sunday. That took about 30 hours. That's not even counting doing these streams, doing the videos, recording them, editing them, uploading them, having a personal life. So the idea of me putting in an extra 5 to 10 hours a week to cover PGA, it's just not possible. It's literally not possible. Like, I got up at 4 a.m. today, and we're still going. So it's just not possible. Also, got rid of Manny too. Boo. From what I know, Manny did some fucked up shit, so I would not be saying that. Awesemo is a great organization. If I wanted to be doing shows with them, I'm sure I really could. Like, if I said, hey, I really want to come back on and do some guest shows, we have a great relationship. There's no ill will there. But if you look a little bit deeper in terms of the Manny situation, at least from what I was seeing on Twitter, doing some very, very potentially criminal, definitely criminal stuff if true, things. So I would not be doing them for that. That was alarming to say the least. Fellas, what's going on? Who wins? Who's going to be in Super Bowl 73? Sal Vetri. Did he say $100 a month? No, $100 a show from Osmo. I think I started at like 60, got up to 100. Actually, it was 120. I think it was 120 a show I got for Osmo last year. So like the hour stream, I would get 124. What receivers can I play instead of Johnson and Watkins? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's like fucking 30 other guys that look good. I can start naming some guys. Arcega Whiteside, McCoy, Diami Brown, Harmon, Dax Millen, N'Keal Harry, Trey Nixon, Jamon Osborne. If you got the balls to play Jamon Osborne tonight, he's in the tiers. But if you got the balls, Tyler Simmons should see some more run with no Ray McLeod. Cam Sims, Steven Sims, Antonio Gandy Golden, Isaiah Wright. These are all guys in the tiers tonight. They're all in play. Best Washington running back tonight. If we're just talking about guys who are going to see the most run, Jarrett Patterson and Jonathan Williams see the most run. I like Williams a little bit more. DK got banned in Oregon because they were trying to acquire this betting site run by the Oregon Lottery, and Oregon Lottery views DFS as a revenue competitor. So, yeah, I heard it was just some, like, bullshit. Yeah, that's such bullshit. Best defense in the Washington versus New England showdown to ride with. Flip a coin. They're both very similar. Flip a coin. Washington obviously has the best starting unit in some depth. Patriots have a fine defense as well now that they're actually all back from sitting out last year. Flip a coin. If I had to choose one, I would choose the Patriots defense because they'll be facing worse quarterback play, in my opinion. Whoa, did not know that about Manny. Yeah, just look into it a little bit. I also don't know if it went anywhere, if it went to criminal cases or anything like that, but yeah. Weather concerns for Washington game, just a heads up. There's never weather concerns. I mean, that's a lie. I should not say that. But weather concerns are not real concerns in football. If it moves the total, it's a concern, so let's see if it's moving the total. There's been no move to the total. This game opened at 32.5. It's up to 37. So unless the betting total moves from 37 to 33, 34, 35, I'm not going to be concerned about the weather. Because, but there's going to be wind. Wind does not last 100% of the game, and the way that the stadiums are set up, normally it factors out a lot of the wind. But when you talk about wind, that only impacts 40-plus yard passes when there's a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust coming through. Not usually that often. Weather is massively overrated. Is Boston Scott going to play? Maybe he sees 2 or 3 touches. Najee Harris will get 5 to 6 carries. My guess is that Najee Harris sees 6 to 8 carries and 1 to 4 receptions. Well, I mean, it's just rain. Yeah, it just rain's even better. I'd rather have rain than wind any day of the week. I mean, they wipe off the balls after every play. They have the stickiest gloves. Like, if you have actually ever touched the league-regulated gloves for wide receivers, anybody can be an NFL wide receiver when you feel. That's what you feel like when you're touching those. You throw a ball at it, and it 75% of the way sticks to the fucking glove. How long do you think Fitzpatrick plays? 1 to 2 drives. He'll play a half a quarter to a quarter. Alrighty. Who's your pick for MVP this season? Let's go Mahomes. Like the video, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it as well. Defense viable tonight? Defense is viable tonight. I mean, defenses in Showdown are always viable. They're the best plays. Defenses, you have to play defense on the normal slate. So, yeah, they're definitely viable. Alrighty. We've been live for how long? Let's get your final questions in right now. We've been live for about 55 minutes, so we're going to wrap this thing up. I appreciate the 300 people that are in here right now. My man who super chatted earlier. Any final stuff that comes out over this next 45 minutes will be updated over on Patreon. The notes are already up for tomorrow's slate. We'll be doing the video will be dropping tomorrow's slate in the morning. It's a 3-game slate. We'll do a stream later in the day, a 10-game slate on Saturday, a Showdown slate on Sunday. We'll have videos for all of it. We'll have notes and tiers for all of it, so you'll be informed no matter what all over the weekend. So, yeah, let's finish it up with these final questions. Heineke or Mac for cash games? I'll take Mac. Heineke has better weapons. Mac has a better offensive line, and I think Mac's the better quarterback. So I'll take Mac, but it's a coin flip. Best Washington wide receiver tonight. There's too many. Like, Washington has legitimate, 6 wide receivers I want to play tonight. Both the Sims guys, Kelvin Harmon, Dax Millen, Diami Brown, Isaiah Wright. I like Kelvin Harmon a lot. Kelvin Harmon is a roster bubble guy. He's been a little bit banged up in camp lately, which could be a concern as long as he's playing tonight. Just double check that, of course. My man Sal, I just scooped the Patreon. Welcome along. Yeah, if you're on Patreon, you get any Patreon membership gets you access to the Discord. So be sure to hook up the Discord so you can get up in there and chat. Who's the best tight end in your mind to play tonight? It's either Pat Freiermuth, Tyree Jackson, Caleb Wilson. Be good. Peace from Virginia. Best of luck. JJ Whiteside still playing? Oh, yeah. Just read that Manny story, and wow, I had no idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to... Okay, I'm just reading an email. I don't want to knock a guy when he's down. I think that happened like a year ago. And there's obviously always more context to be added, but unless a picture was edited in such a way to really make somebody look bad, it's just a little bit messed up. J.J. Taylor, fine play? Definitely. Wide receiver, running back in the flex. Wide receiver has a better range of outcomes. It really depends on the player, YG regrets. I would use the tiers to show that now that you are a Patreon member. But yeah, I would say in general, wide receiver, higher upside. They're not as one-dimensional, I would say. Defense and the captain for the showdown slate, yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, especially on that slate, New England wide receivers don't really stand out. Washington, there's going to be a wide receiver who plays well. There's just going to be. Like Taylor Heineke is a fine quarterback. So wide receiver is going to be the captain the majority of the time, but defense at the rate at which they're owned will be a solid option. Thoughts on Steelers tight ends? I think the only real one that's in play is probably Pat Fryermuth's second round pick this past year. Pat's going to win this game since both QBs are battling no. I mean, I don't think that's the reason they're going to win this game, right? I don't know why that would be the reason. They're battling in camp. Cam Newton's only playing a half a quarter. Mac Jones' first ever NFL action, right? It's only a 1-point game, so I wouldn't use that as the reason why they beat them. Like, Taylor Heineke is a solid quarterback, right? So if Washington had dumb bad quarterbacks like Dallas had, then yeah. Harmon or Diami tonight, leg button already smashed. Diami Brown is a safer play. Harmon is a riskier play because he's been dealing with injury in camp this week, but apparently he's suiting up, and he's lower on the depth chart. He will face worse competition. Harmon has been playing well in camp. Diami Brown is by far a better player. They probably want to throw him the ball once or twice since he's a rookie. Sal, what's up with Bateman? Bateman got groin surgery, and he's expected to miss the first couple weeks of the season, be back sometime in September. JJ or Harmon? Taylor's going to be safer. Look, me mentioning Kelvin Harmon a couple times, don't get that twisted as he's the best play in the slate. Kelvin Harmon has upside. He also has a floor of 0 points tonight. J.J. Taylor's floor is not 0 points. J.J. Taylor's probably going to touch the ball 6 times, right? Maybe have a catch. Kelvin Harmon has legit 0 targets, 0 points. But I like Kelvin Harmon. Why? Every single thing out of Washington camp is that he's playing well. It's a deep wide receiver unit, though, so it makes it really tough. I'm trying not to have biases from just early information that I read. But he was a draft pick last year. He got banged up. He's got actual talent, and he's going to be facing fourth-string defenders. Jalen Samuels is at 4.1 on Prize Picks now. Do you still like the over, or would you go over 25 rushing yards? I'd go over fantasy points still. You're right. No, you're right. Mullins or Mac Jones? I'll take Mac Jones there. Stevenson, Taylor, Gainwell, or Huntley if picking one. Whew. I mean, the best pass-catching upside is Huntley and Gainwell. Stevenson and Taylor are going to see the most carries, so now you're kind of just hoping like Stevenson and Taylor have better touchdown upside, have more carries upside. So let's go Taylor there because I think he'll be the first one in. But Gainwell and Huntley have the ability to catch 3 passes tonight. So they're all very close. I would probably play 2 of those guys. You still like the old man Hall? I like him not as much as I liked him in the video yesterday after just looking a little bit more at what they're going to be doing depth-wise and how other players will be winning. I think he still plays a decent amount, though. Is Terry going to get some run? Terry McLaurin plays a half a drive maybe, so I would not be playing him. Tight end options tonight? Yeah, Caleb Wilson, Tyree Jackson, Pat Fryermuth. If you really want to get crazy, Matt Lacoste, right? There's some tight end options tonight. John Bates, 4th-round pick for Washington. Ricky Seals-Jones. Thanks for all the helps out. Thanks to you as well. Thank you for all the amazing content. Yeah, so more content coming out. 3-game slate video in the morning tomorrow for DFS NFL. In the afternoon, I'll be doing a live stream for Underdog. I'll be doing a live best ball draft. We do those every Friday. And then later on, we'll stream in the day for the Showdown slate. Or the 3-game slate. Saturday, I will be traveling, but I'll have a video up. Unlikely. It's questionable if I'll be streaming. It doesn't make sense to put a video up at like 8 and then stream at like 10. So I'll probably just put the video up. So if any other questions come out later in the day, be sure to be on Patreon. And yeah, get up in the Discord. Peace out, everybody. Thoughts on Brandon Bolden? He's 31. He's a special teamer. I don't think he plays at all. Maybe he plays one play. Yeah, not interested. Who to pair with Heineke? I'm not stacking, so you don't got to worry about it. You put Terrace Marshall higher on the tier list. He looking good. Terrace Marshall is not playing tonight. He plays for the Carolina Panthers. I didn't move anybody up on the tiers list tonight. The only thing I did on tiers list tonight was add Dax Millen. So that's it. Alrighty, peace out, gang. See you in the next one. Best of luck.